We are back from Denver. This video is called a brain dump. So I'm just going to go over everything I can think of that happened to me in the last couple of days, because you kind of already know how it goes when you travel. You'll remember stuff and then you'll forget stuff. So I like doing these brain dumps after a big travel situation. So I did one for Portland. Now I'm doing one for Denver. That's supposed to be a brain dumping. That right there is an amazing backpack, which I'll probably get into a little bit in this video. This is very much uncut, just me talking. So, how was Denver? First, major three things here. Number one is it was hot. It was very hot. I wasn't expecting that. I packed correctly, but one lesson I learned is I'm going to pack sunscreen now. So I'm going to bring sunscreen. I look a little burnt. If I can speak, because I am burnt. So I learned that. I did get dehydrated. I'm not going to lie. I got dehydrated. So I had to make sure I got some water and everything like that. Second thing is the city is like really nice. Like getting from the airport, you can just walk to the train. The train's like $10. That will take you into the city. It takes an hour. Once you're into the city, you go to Union Station. And that station, when I say nice, I mean like, are we in Disneyland? Like it looked like a theme park because of how well upkept it was. It's very nice, like shockingly nice. And I say that because I've gotten off other train stations in other cities and I have some comparison. So right off the bat, really nice. I stayed at the Hostel Fish, which you'll probably see in the description or the title of this video or this entire playlist. That was in a very optimal location. So compared to the other hostels in the region, that was definitely the most optimal location. You are like 4 minutes away from the core stadium, which is like baseball. I don't watch baseball, but what I can tell you is because I was so close, this weekend, I did see my first baseball game ever, because it's like, why not? And that's part of the reason why I like traveling, at least in the context that I do, where it's one backpack, you just go, is my main goal. In anytime anyone asks me, it's like, yo, so why are you going to Denver? Why are you going to Portland? Why are you going to, like, what are you going to do there? I don't know, but that's the point. So like there was a ton of firsts for me. Obviously, going to my first baseball game, that was an experience in itself, because I was just like, I've never even seen this before, in the sense of like that kind of situation. That and like there's just you could just walk around the city. It's a very walkable city, which is always awesome. So you don't really have to take too much public transportation or transportation in general. You can just walk it, which is pretty nice. And I gained like two major things from this trip, other than like bring sunscreen and like just be overly exerting the water, like just keep drinking water. The two major things I learned, and this is why I love traveling, especially in the context of hostels, and that gets you more likely to talk to people that are from the area, not from the area, just get insight. So first major piece of insight that I got was Coworking, or I think it's called Coworking, but there's like a thing where instead of staying at a hostel when you go to a region, if you actually want to live there for a couple months, there's like a co-working / like, you know, it's more like at a hostel, it's very much like, at least from my experience at this point, you kind of want to be there max, minimum 1 day, max like 3-4 days. You don't really want to extend past that, at least from my experience to this point. I might change on that. But there is another way of traveling. It's like co-working. So you can work remotely, but you can also live in a hostel-like environment, but it's as affordable as a hostel. So let me give you an example of what I learned and when I talked to someone that stayed at some type of co-working environment in like Eco Beach in Bali, was telling me all about it. You already know. I'm sleeping in all that intel. And that was the first major thing I realized. I was like, oh, I could do this. Looked it up online, found out that I could live in Bali for like 3 months, maybe pay for rent, food, and everything, a minimum of $4,000. If you live in America, like you already know your rent's going to be a minimum of like 1.8, 2,000, 2.3 if you live in a big city. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay, that's a big bang for my buck there. From that though, major thing. So got all the intel from a firsthand experience from that individual. Obviously, I'm going to make content on that, but can you expect me to remote work / digital nomad in Bali in the future? 100%. And can you expect me to create content around that to show you how to do it? 100%. Like it's all clicking. It's all clicking. So that's the first major thing. Second major thing I realized when it comes to hostels is that I think the optimal amount of people in a room is 6. I stayed at the Hostel Fish and I had 8 people. The reason I say that's not optimal is due, at least in my context, and I think in general, it's more of a wild card. Like I never really had a chance to like kind of like show around in a video way of like what the room looked like. Like I did, but at any given moment, someone's gonna be in the room. So, and someone's gonna be they could be sleeping at 2 p.m. So when you walk in, you turn on the lights, you're like, wait, hold up. There's 7 other bodies in here. Someone might be asleep. So you don't want to be rude or anything like that. So keep that in mind. I think the most optimal is 6 a room. Stuff you learn through experience. Overall, I would say it was a pretty solid experience. Comparing the two between the Fish Hostel and Northwest Portland Hostel, I would say that the Northwest Portland Hostel had more activities, more social activities you can kind of get a part of within the hostel itself. When it came to Fish Hostel, their version of a social activity, like when I say social activities, like Portland Hostel was like wine tasting, breweries, traveling or getting a tour of the city, stuff like that. At least when I went to the Fish Hostel, oh no. Their version of social is just, they have a bar inside it. So you just drinking at the bar, meeting people, etc., which is not bad. It's actually kind of cool. Darts, different games you could play. Nice. And I guess the last thing I want to say is that this backpack right here, and I have it in the description down below so you can check it out, is amazing. Like insanely good. And I'm actually going to release a video here pretty soon where I basically show you how I pack my bag, like all my stuff in one bag, and man, is it freeing. Check this out. This right here. This has so many compartments. I'm not even sponsored by them. I don't even know the brand of this company. I don't even know the brand. All I know is that it's good. I'll check it on the Amazon below. I did a whole video on it. You'll see why. Top tier, big dough. I think that just about does this brain dump. I think like the major thing I learned, like you just learn stuff, which is cool. It gives you the opportunity to talk to people that from different backgrounds, different areas, different parts of the country, different parts of the world. It really gives you the opportunity just to talk. And that opportunity in how unplanned it is. Nothing's planned. Is what leads to amazing memories, spontaneous adventures, stuff that I like. That might not be the cup of tea for everyone, but you just learn stuff. Like I met someone that just moved out to Oklahoma recently, bought 40 acres and a house, has like 2 dogs. He just showed me all these pictures. I'm like, I've never even been to Oklahoma. This bro got like 40 acres and a house. Like I'm just like, okay, I'll take it. I think overall it's a very positive experience. I would say the only drawback that I saw within the hostel itself was the lockers were kind of crazy, where like I had to keep bending over like on the floor. Like they weren't situated like the Portland hostel where it's kind of like a school locker. These were kind of on the floor. Is what it is. That concludes this brain dump, and I'll see you in my next travels.